Yeah, just the game's going to be starting very soon, so I'm just going to recap the classes and bands. Dog will be bringing Mage, Druid, Shaman, and Rogue, and I think Firebat has kind of respect banned Dog's Druid. A Dog very known for Druid, so he won't be able to play it for this round at least. So Dog will have Mage, Shaman, and Rogue left, while Firebat, he has brought Hunter, Druid, Mage, and Paladin, and his Mage has been banned. Mage is a class that just has so many different options, and Dog just doesn't want to deal with those options right now. So the first matchup, it's Shaman versus Druid.
Wow, okay. So Druid right off the bat here for Firebat. Attempting to sweep? I don't know, that's a pretty rough start. That's a pretty heavy start. Would you start with... I would generally start with Hunter on the off chance that I can just generally win against most classes. I mean, it's usually a pretty okay matchup against Mage. Well, it's also not that bad against Rogue. But the lineup of Firebat is also pretty versatile, so I mean, even losing Mage is not that big of a deal. He's got pretty much all the angles covered.
Yeah, to each his own, I guess. And I have to point out, Firebat, his webcam has been a little iffy lately, so we're going to see... I guess a 14-year-old version of him, his school pick.
He probably picked this picture himself and was asked which one to give. And he said, you know what, take this. This is Firebat in a nutshell. You just gotta love. Just gotta love him.
Like Firebat, he looks so much older in real life. I've seen pictures of him and I'm like, oh, this kid's like 13, 14 years old, right? But in reality, he's much older than he's 19, but he doesn't seem that way. And he seems, when you meet him in real life, he actually seems older than 19. He's kind of mature in some ways.
Yeah, no, he definitely does not, no matter where you see him, he looks a different age. Online, you'll listen to him, he'll sound different. Oh wow. No. Okay, no, against Shaman you don't do that.
Okay,
I mean, even if you can have the 9 mana, it's still not viable. But that was still very tempting from my perspective. All right. Definitely. I mean, who doesn't like a Dr. Boom on turn 3? Yeah, so these two hands here are actually pretty good for both players.
This is actually a very interesting pick from from Firebat, that is. Harvest Golem's not a card that we typically see in Druid these days, but it's actually very good against Shaman. I guess the thing is, Shaman is a deck that it always wants board control, and Paladin is a class that always wants board control. And these two classes combined are somewhat popular, so Harvest Golem is a good choice against those decks that really try to fight for board control all the time.
Yeah, and that's the reason probably why Firebat didn't even think twice about picking his deck as soon as he... You
see the Innervate options for Firebat right now.
Ancient of Lore is actually a really, really important card in this specific circumstance because it's going to allow... I mean, you can afford playing Innervates if you're going to get card draw. I'm actually surprised. I don't know. Is swipe a play you would consider here? You ping the spiders and you swipe the 4-1? The 2-4?
I think it's possible, but this is just so strong. Firebat's actually going to face. He didn't trade the Pilot Treader into the Gnomish Inventor, even though that would have been such a great play. A Dog was kind of counting on that and he was thinking, oh, if he does that, then I'll Earthshock in return, and it'll be great. But this way, Firebat forces Dog to make that trade, and it's not going to be that great for him.
Yeah, I mean, he can coin out a lot of options, but the Overload follow-ups are not going to be good. The thing is, without Innervate, Firebat also doesn't have a follow-up, assuming the board gets wiped in any way. A Hex Lightning Storm is semi-interesting here. But there are, honestly, this board from Firebat is just excruciating to look at. I mean, you have to start somewhere, but where exactly? Do you...
Dog is definitely shaking his head right now. He's like, oh, so many
lines of play, yeah. But
there's actually
Flame Tongue Totem, Lightning Storm, coin Earthshock on something is... Wow, he's trying for the...
Spell power, he doesn't get it.
Okay. I thought he was gonna go for the Flame Tongue Totem between the Gnomish Inventor and the Spider.
Yeah, this is a perfect board for Flame Tongue, but Dog just doesn't feel like he can use it right now, unfortunately.
What he's doing right now also plays pretty well around Swipe, if you think about it.
Yeah, this plays around Swipe like really well. And good thing you played around it because there's 2 swipes in Firebat's hand.
Oh wow, that's a really really nice play here from Dog. And Firebat's options are very passive in a way. I mean, he could double swipe to wipe the entire board, but I mean, how good do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, Dog played around swipe, but did he play around double swipe is the real question.
Can you even play around double swipe?
Not with his particular board, I guess.
Yeah, not really. And the thing is, by swiping face, if Firebat decides to go, for instance, a single swipe on the high health spider and then swipe face, that wipes the board completely, and that puts a lot of damage on Dog's face, and then he can follow up with Ancient of Lore for card draw. And if he does run combo, then that's going to be especially interesting.
I guess the play is going to be double swipe.
It's even more aggressive than I thought. He's going for double swipe to face, or wait.
Yeah, I think it's going to be double swipe to face.
There it is. This is actually even stronger, but
His Dog's like, his reaction is exactly, I can't believe he had 2 of those.
yeah. And now what do? Do you bolt Storm and hope he doesn't have combo in hand for the next few turns? I mean, the Ancient of Lore follow-up is just flawless here. I don't think there's a better follow-up than that.
Yeah, on turn 7, what else could you, like, you've already played your Dr. Boom, what else could you want?
Yeah, there's no hand. Like, you have no hand. All you've got is this, so it does feel like a perfect time. Oh,
There's the force of nature.
Oh, one step at a time, right? Firebat, no-brainer, Ancient of Lore.
Ancient of Lore, go to face, deal some more damage, win the game.
Then get Savage Roar, win the game. He's playing double combo. Whoa.
Undertaker.
What? That's awesome.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I like it.
He runs Undertaker, he runs Harvest Golem.
Yep.
I'm betting he runs something like Loot Hoarder to curve out. And also probably Sludge Belcher in place of Druid of the Claw for what you normally see.
Yeah, if he's running the Undertakers, that's the most sensible approach.
Yeah, so you could potentially have Death Rattles at every single mana. You have at 2 you have the Loot Hoarder, 3 you have Harvest Golem, 4 you have Piloted Shredder, 5 you have you could have the Sludge Belcher, 6 you could possibly have either probably Piloted Sky Golem, and then at 7 you have the Dr. Boom, of course.
Yeah. So here's the awkward thing: like the boom bot exploded and hit Dog's face for 2 damage. This is not the most dangerous damage output, but it's just enough that between 2 turns, like Force of Nature is going to do it on its own, even through Defensive Argus. Now that Sylvanas was top decked.
Sylvanas, pretty good play.
Yeah, I mean you can rat the 1/3 if you want to, but to avoid a Defensive Argus that's going to be 4 damage, but. You're forcing your opponent to have a Hex, so you could just go face here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is fine because...
he wins on the back of just Force of Nature alone next turn.
And you could also play around possible Feral Spirits. Like if your opponent had Feral Spirits next turn, you could use Wrath to kill one of them off.
To kill one of them, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if your opponent has Argus, then your opponent's always going to have 2 targets anyway. It doesn't matter.
Is there a way to actually recover from this specific board state? Because he needs to taunt up, otherwise he's dead. So in order to taunt up, he'd have to play to keep either... Well, he can't even keep 1 million alive. He'd have to trade both of them away. So he needs to attack with one, Rock Bite the other, and then Totem up and Defensive Argus for 1 taunt.
Not looking ideal. I mean, he can he can clear the Sylvanas, and I think that's what he's going to do. But if he clears the Sylvanas, there's no way for him to taunt anything up.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's got no follow-up, nothing. He has to play this, like, alone with his Stoneclaw. Hope for Stoneclaw, and if he doesn't get it, he's pretty much dead.
Not Stoneclaw. He was mousing over the Flame Tongue to play it in case he got the Stoneclaw as well. And there's Force of Nature.
Yep, the well played here, Force of Nature again taking games from people. So this was a really aggressive Druid. I mean, the second swipe I think was really important to work out because only one Dog played really well against only one swipe, but the second swipe was just the nail in the coffin there.
Yeah, I think Firebat played really well this game too. He went swipe both to face. It's not a play many people would make, but Firebat realized that even though he expended his entire hand, almost his entire hand, he still had the Ancient of Lore follow up the next turn.
Yeah, so he still had he had to put a lot of pressure on the shaman and hope no what's it called, anti-kill bot would come out, and even if it did, it would leave the Ancient of Lore most of the time into play for an extra 5 damage, which would mitigate its usefulness. So over the long term, he played right. I didn't think double swipe to face. I didn't really think of the play at all. I saw multiple ways to use swipe and wipe the board completely, but surrendering the 4 damage from the shredder to use the 4 damage from swipe was not one of them.
I think the key to that game was that Dog never got use out of his Flame Tongue Totem, and that's one of the ways you can kind of get ahead of the Druid, using a Flame Tongue Totem to buff multiple things like 3 creatures in the same turn, kill off your opponent's board.
Yeah.
And even though Dog had a lot of creatures on many turns, he had to use his other cards in order to deal with threats such as Dr. Boom or the Piloted Shredder, and he just never got value of that Flame Tongue.
Yeah, and the Innervates also, Dr. Boom on turn 5, that's nothing to scoff at. Like, how do you deal with... It's fine, you can hex the 7/7, but how do you deal with the boom bots effectively afterwards, right? Because you need your totems on the board, and if the boom bots explode, you're going to lose those, at least likely. And if it hits your face, you're not nearly ahead either. So there's very, very few ways for the shaman in this circumstance to be, to come out ahead positively. It's kind of like dealing with Undertaker, when you don't have Fiery War Axe, and there's no way to trade, positively for it.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Boom, really threatening.
Next match, Dog is going to pick the Rogue. I think it's a pretty good decision. He hasn't seen the Undertaker from Firebat yet, but Rogue is one of the classes that can deal with the Undertaker better than almost any other class because it has the backstab, which is kind of like a free kill an Undertaker if used early on.
Yeah, so backstab plus dagger allows you to not even expend 2 cards on it, which is one of the few classes that can do it well.
Oh man, double.
No man, and he keeps both.
No, because he keeps both, it says to me that he probably doesn't have Wild Growth. And if you run an Undertaker Druid deck, you probably won't be running Wild Growth, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he'll try to ramp up here off of Wild Growth in a deck like this. He's curving a little lower than other people might expect. Still a very, very strong start. Again, turn 1 Sledge Belcher. He's hoping there's no sap. But even if there's a sap, there's a Coin Harvest Golem. Dog is completely mind blown at what he's looking at.
Dog, if you watch the stream enough, then you'll be able to predict what he's thinking. He's probably thinking, I can't believe he had that. Both of them?
My opponent's play was exactly what he needed to beat me here. This guy's deck is crazy. I mean, what do you do with the Sabotage is 0 value at this point. He has to develop a board with Erling Farseer and hope that Deadly Poison SI7 is going to carry him. So,
I think that's definitely going to be the play next turn.
This is a very aggressive line of play, but it's definitely the right one.
Yeah, it's Deadly Poison SI Agent is actually really good here.
Yep.
He kills off the first half of the Belcher, and he's able to clear this 3 mana drop.
Yeah, and the Fan of Knives will be able to deal with the remaining token from the how's it called? Harvest Golem when it does die.
That's really interesting. He decided to clear the taunt instead of Big Game Hunter.
The 4/2?
Yeah, he killed the 1/2 instead of the 4/2. I'm not sure why he did that.
I don't know, just to be able to go through it afterwards. Oh wow, that is a surprisingly convenient play.
But I mean, like, he basically took extra damage. He took like 3 extra damage.
3 extra damage from this, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this Druid.
Firebat is just absolutely dominating the draws, basically. I mean, how do you stop somebody who draws like this?
This is a really interesting rogue, by the way, with 2 piloted Sky Golems. I think the purpose of this rogue is I'm going to get early tempo out with my backstabs, eviscerates, SI agents, and then I'm going to throw down these essentially
Unremovable
Savannah,
minions, yeah.
no, Savannah high mains, pretty poor man Savannah high mains.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the play. You attack Sylvanas, she steals Piloted Shredder, you sabotage, kill the Piloted Shredder, it's Doomsayer.
It's a pretty good play.
I know, right? I'm looking at this and I just can't come up with any rational way to... I mean, I guess, do you just kill the Golem and Violet Teacher, Fan of Knives, to kill the 2-1 and that's it? I mean, do you just try to sap off of... I don't even know. Like,
I think this is fair. The Sludge Belcher, it kind of prevents the
kill?
Yeah.
From killing you. Yeah, when you can't kill your opponent, you just kill all their minions. Alright, well maybe Dog will be able to stabilize off of this. He's already seen the 2 swipes, so he's not worried about swipe to the face. And
Do we see an Ancient of Lore?
No.
Not an Ancient of Lore, but still a good top deck.
Very good one. And now Dog is gonna see the Undertaker for the first time.
There was an argument for playing both mechs instead.
Mechs instead, yeah. I was gonna say, but then again, you lose pure Undertaker value afterwards. You can never get it back. I mean, there's never a time where we'll be happy to play it. And now it has the chance of becoming a 3/4 for 1 mana. Oh, okay. That might come in handy.
That could help. Dog wishes he had some kind of...
He's hoping for Doomsayer
buff.
here. He's hoping for Doomsayer so hard. It's not it. Not at all.
Okay, this is possible as well. He could... He's hoping to steal... have his opponent Sylvanas steal one of the 1/1s.
Yes. And I think this is the right call at this point. And if it does, then he can dagger up to kill it.
Yeah, I think if that happens, like, he's not in a terrible position. He can sort of clear board here if he Blade Flurries and attacks the 1/1 into the Undertaker.
I mean, are you worried? Like, what if he sells a 5/4 or the 3/5? Like, do you keep your Sabotage as backup?
I think at this point,
you have no choice, do you?
Yeah, you have no choice. You YOLO, hope your opponent steals a 1/1.
60% chance of stealing a 1/1, so...
Oh, wow.
Dog's RNG is absolutely horrendous this game, but there's no lethal yet until Force of Nature is top decked. 5, 4, 3, right now. No, okay, it wasn't it.
Undertaker. Not great.
Not a great draw here for the Druid, but...
Dog is still technically in this, especially if he has another Earthring Farseer, an anti-Keelbot.
Oh yeah, anti-Killbot top deck would be massive for him here. But at any point, a single Force of Nature, not even a Savage or just Force of Nature straight up, is going to be a huge problem. And what do you do with Sabotage at this point? I mean...
Alright, so what does Firebat need to draw?
Firebat?
I'm sorry,
anything?
Dog.
A dog? I don't know. I want to say anything as well, but I genuinely have no idea.
Sprint is not the card you want.
So you have to Sabotage, kill Token, attack the Undertaker, then Sabotage the... Yeah, you can actually clear the board here with Sabotage. It's a full clear. But you're down to 3 health.
Yeah.
It's not a comfortable position, but at least you're alive until he top decks another damage output. But that makes Savage Roar lethal afterwards, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Savage Roar is going to be lethal no matter what, I think.
Yeah, no matter if you kill stuff or not.
Yeah.
So you have to at least try the let me top deck anti-Killbot, please. Alright, so there are 4 outs. Well, actually, Druid of the Claw would be one, but I think he cut them for Sludge Belcher, so that's not really an out at the moment.
Well, that's a bad card.
Yeah, it's a bad card, but all he needs is a bit of damage to the face. Hero Power will eventually kill the Rogue. Yeah, now he can't use his dagger as removal anymore.
Firebat's putting Dog on a 2-turn clock now.
Oh, the sap!
you sap the...
Yeah, you have to sap. You have to sap and pray that your top deck is going to win you the game. You have the, what are you gonna do other than that? Like, what choice? are you offered at the moment? Look at the amount of damage he has on board, actually. 6, 11. He's got 15. He just needs 6 more. That is not unreasonable.
That's true.
Actually, he needs 5 more. Eviscerate top deck is lethal. But
Keeper.
that will be good game. The Keeper of the Grove, keeping the Grove pretty damn well here. With Firebat's Grove has been kept. And Dog's face has been moonfired. And this is it. Wow. I think Dog had he had a chance to come back here. It wasn't impossible, but it was very, very slim.
Yeah, very slim indeed. He needed his opponent to draw dead pretty much for 3 turns in a row. Runner, not runner, not runner, not runner.
Yeah, like Keeper of the Grove, Keeper of the Grove. I'm afraid we'll have to resume the call. Give me a second.
Yeah, hold up.
So I feel like it's a lot easier if this is Freeze Mage.
Judging by Dog style, I know in the last tournament that he played, which was Battle of the Best, he played Freeze Mage, and I think it's judging by the starting hand, it's going to be Freeze Mage once again. We see an Arcane Intellect and a Loot Hoarder.
Yep, looks like that's probably exactly that. So we skip the mulligan phase, but no problem. Very standard mulligans. You keep Loot Hoarder and Arcane Int because you want to have your card draw. Actually, he threw back Arcane Intellect and got the Doomsayer and Arcane Int instead. Oh, and there goes the Innervate. Turn 2, Pilot Shredder. Dog is wondering why the world hates him so much.
Dog is like,
there's no answer, Dog.
Why did you draw an Innervate in every single game?
Yeah, and it's like those. I remember casting a tournament with Lothar where Druids kept having Wild Growth, and it was we casted the game, the entire tournament, and all we could think of was, oh, that was a Wild Growth. Well played. And it felt a little redundant. At least now it's mostly Innervate and not so much Wild Growth alone.
Yeah, well-growthed.
Yep, you've been Wild Growthed. Alright, so the Pilot Shredder will, with Wrath, kill the Doomsayer, but this is a pretty decent trade because it stalls off. It's not amazing, but it buys you a bit of time. And the Druid's hand is fairly slim until he finds his card draw.
Yeah, he essentially tanked 7 damage with that Doomsayer, which is, you'd rather kill the board, but I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, against a Death Rattle deck as well, the board is not really cleared in the way that you might like it to.
Okay, Harvest Golem goes down, and the Acolyte of Pain tanks another 4 damage for the mage.
Which is actually really substantial. Oh, I like this. This hand is actually looking pretty... He's gotten a bit of draw out of this hand if he wants.
Yeah, right now
how early can the Druid kill him, really?
He has to decide, do I want to play this Doomsayer now, or do I want to wait for a freeze to combo the Doomsayer with?
But then you know that Keeper of the Grove will still just ruin your day. Another Innervate. Not so useful right now, but that's a turn 7 Force of Nature Savage Roar combo.
Wow, Firebat's not drawing perfectly this game.
What is going on? I think he might just swipe face here.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah, you never know with Firebat. I remember there was a tournament that he played. Most of the tournaments he plays, he just... whatever. And it's kind of funny to see his reactions at times.
I feel like you have to... In this particular situation, you have to save the swipe, though, for a potential second Doomsayer plus a freeze.
Yeah, if you had Keeper of the Grove, it would be maybe acceptable to throw it very offensively, but as it is, not worth it at all.
Okay, and, Doomsayer from the Shredder, maybe?
He's hoping. Oh, wow, it couldn't get worse than this. How do you remove this? Dog, again, just punching his face with his palm. This is incredible.
Yeah, Dog just literally facepalmed right now.
Yeah, we saw him facepalm. This was a textbook facepalm right here.
Yeah, literally one of the best creatures Firebat could have gotten. It's a Death Rattle, it's sticky. What else could you want?
I guess, and there's a Dr. Boom on curve. At least if it's on curve, you can't kill yourself by flame striking it, right? Which is what tends to happen. Alright, this is a bit of a weird spot. But then again, Archmage Gentinitis could be coming out with the coin. He's been able to hold on to that coin for a while now. So if a Fireball kills a 4/5 and he plays Doomsayer, is that ever something you're happy about? I mean, Dr. Boom is going to be so annoying.
That's not too bad, but there's just so many death rattles on the board. I mean, it's a decent play, and you're kind of happy about it, but the end result still isn't the best.
Yeah, you want to draw cards to make sure you can find those actual board clears or board freezes, but he hasn't found any yet, and you have to play around what you have at this point.
On the other hand, this actually does stop Dr. Boom from coming down on turn 7.
Unless double innervate is drawn.
Yeah.
Alright, it's not. Alright, actually, the Harvest Golem top deck allows him to develop the board even further and swipe. So that's actually even better for him in a way.
Yep. He saved swipe, and it seems to have paid off, swiping the Doomsayer as we predicted.
Ooh, this is getting a bit tricky here. That Alex Straza could close the game earlier than Dog expected.
But does Dog actually just want a Antonidas coin?
Well, you almost want to coin out Alex Straza, but I don't know.
I feel like this is okay.
Yeah, just to get the fireball, but
I think the
Archmage naked
fireball. Yeah, Archmage is just such a threatening body.
Yeah, he has to dump a lot of cards into it, which is less cards that are going to be used for you. Yeah, okay, so one Force of Nature has been played here by Firebat, which is probably what Dog wanted out of the Archmage, just to tank some of the massive minion plays, like stop tempoing me to death, and have to deal with my threats for once. I'd like to be on the giving end of that. And that's pretty much what's happening right now, because there could be an Alex Straza just getting coined out, which is going to force, again, the Druid to deal with Alex Straza, and then the Mage has his second Ice Block, Pyroblast plays coming up. So Firebat is going to feel very threatened by Alex Straza if she does come down.
Yeah, I think this is one of the weaknesses of the Death Rattle Druid right now. Imagine if these Harvest Golems were Shades instead of Harvest Golems. I mean, this game would be over. The Shades would be like 7-7 and 8-8 right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, against Shaman, of course, you'd rather have the Harvest, or against Paladin, for instance, but against this specific situation, I think you're just flat out right. Wow, Ancient of Lore comes with a heal. Not the heal, actually, he just draws cards.
I don't think he can actually win with the heal. Well, no, he's not dead.
He's not dead yet, but he's going to
use
die.
the coin.
Yeah, but he can't win. It's impossible, is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible for him to win right now.
Yeah.
Alex Straza will just go to face, and then a Pyroblast next turn will finish him off.
You know what? Kazan Mystic.
Oh, Kazan Mystic. And you know what? Lotheb. How sick would that be? Next turn, Firebat somehow gets Kazan Mystic plus Lotheb.
Okay, you know what? Okay, that would just be... I think Dog would consider quitting Hearthstone right then and there. We haven't seen Lotheb in Firebat's deck yet, though.
Well, you know what? It's not a Death Rattle, so it doesn't belong.
It doesn't belong there, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just
Dog is
actually
actually
face for the sake of it.
Yeah, I guess for the sake of not being so, you could deny like Savage Roar or something.
He still wins on Lotheb though, so even if Lotheb is played, it still wins the game.
Yeah, nothing good in Firebat's hand right now, and by nothing good I mean nothing useful for this particular situation, because we all know Sylvanas, Dr. Boom, Force of Nature, Undertaker, Sludge Belcher, all some of the best cards in the game.
Yeah, and it's funny how they're very good, but just right now not useful at all. And the interesting part is that even though he might have wanted to play around some of the burst of the mage, the Archmage Antonidas play, like the plays that he made with Doomsayer is just tanking damage, right? The first Doomsayer, the second Doomsayer, and the Archmage Antonidas just being put down, thrown in the way, saying, deal with me or I'm gonna kill you, instead of actually being immediate, you know, threats. They're just allowing for him to drop Alex Straza later on to win the game, which I think is really interesting. He just tried to bide his time until he could drop Alex and hope that the Druid would not find a way to kill him. And it worked.
Firebat's basically saying, I hope you don't have any burn in your hand right now, but
any burn. Yeah, and the second Ice Block, like even if you pop the first one, second comes down and then you have to go through another layer of turns. And that's usually way too much to ask for.
Wow, and this is going to be very exciting. We actually don't have a 3-0 shutout by Firebat.
Yep.
As Dog takes the first game.
Yeah, and Firebat's mage, I believe, was banned. So, Druid. What's left is Hunter and Paladin since Druid was eliminated.
Mhm.
So Hunter, Paladin against Mage. I think Mage wins against Paladin systematically almost. And Hunter though could be a big problem.
Yeah, it could be. But
Firebat's the kind of guy who puts flares because he can.
yeah, I mean, at the same time, like these days, would you rather run Flare or Kazam Mystic, right?
Honestly, in a Hunter deck, maybe Flare.
Mhm.
In any other deck, probably something else. I mean, he's probably. I think he's just throwing it like I don't know. What do you play Hunter or Paladin? If you play Paladin, you're just taking a chance and saying, "Oh, well, maybe this will work." And if it works, then awesome. But if it doesn't, then kind of as expected. So this might end up being a 2-2 if the usual matchup pans out to be what it usually is.
I raised the question of Flare versus Kazam Mystic because in the Inven Invitational tournament that Savit's played in, Savit's actually put a Kazam Mystic in his Hunter deck. So really interesting, yeah.
Yeah, because nobody's going to tech against, like, they won't counter Kazan Mystic you, right? Like, nobody, I mean, if they do, then props, but I mean, the likelihood of it is just so slim.
I just feel like, in general, stealing your opponent's secret is slightly better than drawing a card. Right.
Yeah, of course it is. But I just figured in Hunter, if you're playing to be a bit more aggressive, because on Mystic doesn't lend herself, to like a top deck. If you're tracking into stuff, and you need the way to just remove the secret, sometimes it can be a bit tougher to curve in 4 as opposed to 2 mana.
All right, we get word that the next deck coming from Firebat will be his Paladin deck, and I'm interested to see how slow or how fast his version of Paladin will be.
Do you think it really matters though against Freeze Mage? I mean, it would have to be Healadin in order to win. Because I mean, holding a board against Freeze Mage and winning is impossible. And Paladin's damage generally comes from the board, and not so much from I mean, True Summer Champions do deal damage, and there are minions that do that, but it's mostly just trying to flood the board and hope that stuff sticks, which it usually does not.
I mean, you say it has to be a Healadin, but some of these decks, like the more control Paladins, aren't too far off. These decks run 2 lay on hands and a heal bot, sometimes 2 heal bots. That's about as Healadin as they come.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. When I say Healadin, I mean exactly that specific archetype. There's a bit of a delay there because the hand of the player at the top is not shown to me at the moment. Massive delay, actually. I don't even see the hand. It's funny.
I mean, it's obvious that he has a quotation mark in his hand.
All right, so Firebat's probably going to invite the spectator in the near future. So on turn 3, I mean, True Summer Champion, you're forcing a coin for True Summer Champion.
Invite, please. You can see our spectators waiting to Firebat to get an invite.
I beg you, Firebat, please invite us.
I hope he invites us soon because there was a tournament where I believe Amaz didn't invite the spectator, and they had to remake the game because of that.
Because they wouldn't know if the deck was actually the right deck list, for instance?
Well, it was just bad for the spectators.
Okay, gotcha.
Spectator value.
Yeah. So True Summer Champion was indeed forced by the Acolyte of Pain, which is the least value you can get out of that minion against Paladin. But you somewhat expect it when you throw it out, right? You somewhat expect a True Summer Champion to take it out.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Wild Pyromancer. Okay, the fact that there's a Wild Pyromancer in this deck means that it's probably going to be a bit more control heavy.
Yeah, you don't see too much of it in the faster decks that have been springing around. What is that secret? I'm actually wondering.
Well, Ice Block, Ice Barrier, take your pick. I don't think it's either or. It's probably not going to be relevant for a while.
If Blood Mage Talos top decks Arcane Intellect or some such thing, that could be a really nice way to keep the draw tempo going. All right, well, we have to assume we're playing ladder right now. Completely blind against an opponent, we have no idea who it is. All right, Sludge Belcher being played. It's a pretty standard card in Indian Paladin, so...
Yeah, it's not really indicative of anything.
Arcane Intellect. There it is. He draws, and he draws.
Arcane Intellect via 3 mana life tap, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, because you're What I find funny about Arcane Intellect is that the only equivalent to it is what Thought Steal, I think. And from a like pure value standpoint, Arcane Intellect isn't that interesting. But in a deck like Freeze Mage, it just operates amazingly well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see.
Huh. Is this a Doomsayer double Frostbolt Sylvanas?
Yeah.
Oh no way! Not yet, at least. Not yet. But I don't
mean,
think
that's-
Firebat will overextend any further in this board. There's no way.
It's always possible. Oh my god.
What? Oh wow! That Alex Straza tech play.
You mean Kel'Thuzad?
No, just Deathlord. You remove the
Oh,
Alex
Deathlord.
from the mage deck. How did they kill you?
I see. Oh, of course. Like,
did
there's
they-
so many weird cards in this deck.
Yeah.
Deathlord and Stampede and Kodo. I mean, the Stampede Kodo is obviously to counter Mirror Entity. Like, you play your own Deathlord, and your opponent Mirror Entities it, and then you Stampede and Kodo it.
Oh please! Oh monk, don't do this to me. So, I mean, with a board like this. Okay, so Stampede Kodo could come out right now, is my assumption. Like, it makes way too much sense. I mean, that's obviously why it's in this deck, and I love it. I think it's an amazing play. Because it still works with, you know, the Aldor Peacekeeper. It's a combo that used to be, like, completely widespread in Paladin decks, but it's been phased out.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, cool cards here, and a lot of cards that Firebat needs to beat his opponent's mage. Lotheb, one key card, it shuts out almost 90% of Dog's deck. And Lay on Hand is the key heal that he needs and the key card draw he needs after an Alex Straza.
Yeah, most of the cards he's got are really good. Unfortunately, Kel'Thuzad is not going to be playable right now. That's kind of unfortunate for him. I'm pretty sure that's what he wanted to do.
Oh man, Firebat's going really old school. He's adding humility back to Paladin.
Is this where you play Deathlord? And the Doomsayer triggers, everything dies, your minion comes into play, and then you steal with Sylvanas? Is this kind of a gimmick that he's trying to go for?
Does it?
I mean, it doesn't work in this case because Deathlord will trigger after
Yeah,
Sylvanas, but
exactly.
if it had been played in the other order, that would have been fun. I think you throw Deathlord and hope it's Sylvanas, because you've got the humility to deal with it, right?
I
Or do
feel
you
like
just not care.
I feel like you just equip the True Silver and pass. To be honest,
That's just a boring turn.
yeah. Like usually against any other deck, you'd want to Lay on Hands, but in this particular matchup, you value the heal from Lay on Hands more than you do the extra cards. All right, Ice Barrier.
I don't know, I feel like getting Alex Straza out would have been such a clutch play. But he doesn't know that it's not already in the hand.
I mean, even
He's
if you
seen
get
two Doomsayers, two Mad Scientists.
Alex Straza out, it means Alex Straza will be dealing 8 damage to your face. So not
No,
great.
she won't have charge. You'll have humility to deal with it. But he has no removal for her right now, so that's probably not gonna work. Actually, Archmage Entonite is coming out.
That's kind of funny.
That is pretty scary, actually. I mean, at least Lotheb can counter it, but...
Kind of.
He's gonna get at least another fireball off of it.
Does Lotheb counter it? I mean, somewhat.
Not really, no, not
Yeah.
really. It
But
kind of helps, but it's not... It's not a perfect response. Not even close. Alright, Frost Nova is gonna give another fireball here.
Yeah, Frost Nova is going to be excellent.
Wow. The fireball count is gonna be through the roof here. That's already 2 of them. We're not even accounting for Frostbolt, Ice Lance.
All right, Firebat. One more draw. Can it deal with Antonius? No. I guess Tyrion is the play here.
You have to take a chance at least. I mean, what else is he gonna do? If he can't use Doomsayer Nova anymore, his Blizzard is one of the best cards he could get to stall you more and get even more fireballs as you overextend.
Yeah, any kind of AoE freeze is going to be really good.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised, like how much work Archmage has been doing so far in this specific game.
Okay,
Wow.
this isn't bad either.
So you attack Tyrion. I mean, you
No,
ping
no,
Tyrion.
you
It's
don't
not even
attack
use.
Tyrion.
It's pointless. You just get infinite fireballs.
Oh,
Frostbolt Ice Lance and just completely try to obliterate his opponent because he's got the ice block set up. He's got the ice barrier. So the paladin needs to find some kind of lethal somehow, knowing that there are a total of 5 fireballs in his opponent's hand. There's no Lothab coming back.
wow, what a great play.
Yeah, there is absolutely
Dog's
no
like,
comfortable position here.
I've got 5 fireballs. Can you heal for 30 damage?
You know what? For all we know, he just has like 2 heal bots and two Leon hands coming up. But with Death Lords, I mean, what do you have to cut, right? You have to cut somewhere. And those might just be the slots of Healadin that just don't get played by Firebat. And the mage is actually
I feel
above 30 effective health.
I feel like those slots are probably replaced by... Those spots are taking the spots of, like, the piloted sky golems that some people run in Paladin.
Yeah.
So, like, it's fewer threats, but more answers, like with the Kodo, the Humility, more defensive cards, like the Death Lord.
Yeah, and now Doug is counting. He's saying if he's got anti-heal bot or lay on hands, am I still okay? And he's counting the damage that's on the board, and he calculates that yes, if one of those 2 cards is played, I still have just enough to win the game. Unless Youthful Brewmaster comes out.
Oh, Guardian of Kings.
Yeah, it sadly is just... He's going to be on 15 though, that buys him an entire turn.
Yeah, just barely not enough. But
Yeah.
he still can't pop the ice block.
Exactly, that's what Dog was counting last turn to make sure that if he healed, then did he have enough to kill him with fireballs anyway? And turns out he does. He's got 13 a turn for the next 2 turns.
Alright, this turn's gonna be pretty simple. Fireball, fire all, and probably just a ping. Or
Yeah, 13 damage a turn. Just maximize the amount of damage so that even a heal can't really put the game out of reach.
yeah, this deck seems to have been specifically made to counter Freeze Mage almost, with both a Lay on Hands and a Guardian of Kings.
That's how I feel, but I thought he would play the Deathlord into that Doomsayer to force some kind of crucial minion to come out earlier than the Mage would have liked.
Yeah, but again, even if Alexstrasza came out, it could have attacked on that turn, right? Like,
No, it doesn't have charge. It wouldn't have given it charge. That's the way Doomsayer works. It'll summon it. The only drawback was if it's Archmage Antonize that comes out, it costs him 0 mana and then he gets infinite spells, and that's like the worst case scenario. But either way, definitely well played here for both players. But Paladin, I feel, has a huge problem against Freeze Mage in general. I think it's one of those matchups you just don't have a really good chance to win because all your damage comes from the board. Maybe Kazan Mystic with Paladin. That could be fun.
Yeah, and I noticed I haven't seen either Muster for Battle or Quartermaster in this deck. So that might mean he might not run those cards. And that's also kind of somewhat the only burst you have in Paladin. So another reason why this Paladin might be... it might lack the necessary tools to beat Mage.
Yeah, it might not have what it takes to actually seal the game, because it can drag it on maybe, but just not deal enough damage. The addition of Kel'Thuzad there was kind of interesting. I don't know if it was tailored. I think he just threw it away. I don't know if Firebat was really trying to counter Freeze Mage. It feels more like the deck was tailored around another thing, and he just played it first on the off chance that he got the win.
Well, I think also he kind of accounted for, I have these burns, my opponent has these burns, and I have these heals, so I can kind of match those up. But when Antonitis gets like 4 or 5 fireballs, you just can't
There's
deal
nothing,
with that.
exactly. Equality would have done a good job there of stopping the Antonitis spam.
Yeah, so the score is 2-2. So we're going to have one last game to determine who moves on in the Kinguin for Charity tournament. The final match of the day, and it's going to be Mage versus Hunter.
Yep, that's actually really... I mean, it's one of those matchups where I feel like it largely depends on the starting hands and what type of hunter it is. If it is hyper aggressive, then it's a very, very different approach.
Now,
I mean, we've seen Glaivezuka come back in some circumstances.
I think just judging by that tracking that was in Firebat's hand before, this is probably a very infamous list of Hunter on the NA server. it was popularized by Broodstar, and it runs things such as one Hunter's Mark, one Owl, one Tracking, one Houndmaster, one Knife Juggler, and one Unleash the Hounds. Basically, just a lot of one-ofs, and they just basically they help you react to any situation possible.
Yeah, but the thing is, against Freeze Mage, they're reactive. You are not very reactive as a class, by design. That's not really what you're striving for, right? Like, you don't want to be reactive against a Freeze Mage. You've got nothing to react to.
You just want to put that pressure on.
Yeah, and I don't think the hand that Firebat has right now is helping, unless he finds maybe a Huffer. That would help a lot. Oh well.
Huffer's not even that good, I feel.
He's not that good, but he's gonna help a little bit. So if you trade Mad Scientist, he needs to have a Frostbolt for this guy. Which is more pressure than was put in the board already.
Yeah, but I think Ping can kind of deal with this well. Or even a Loot Hoarder can kind of contest it.
But pinging doesn't... I mean, armor plating is going to save the Huffer for at least one turn if a ping is played.
That's true. But you can also Cone of Cold next turn, freeze the Huffer.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm not saying Huffer. I'm not saying Huffer's gonna win the game here, Monk. Don't misquote me on that. It's just I'm looking at this. I'm like, there's no pressure. Maybe that'll help a bit.
I don't know. Maybe I thought you had the impression that Huffer was gonna do 4 damage every turn for the next 10 turns.
The rest of the game, no. Yeah. Not even close. No, it was just like one of the hopes of Firebat hinge on the fact that he might be able to get like 12 to 16 damage out of Huffer. He's gonna get about 8 to 12 maybe.
Perfect top deck.
Yeah, there we go.
Not bad.
Well played.
Okay, so the Frostbolt's definitely gonna come down. What other 2-drop?
Yeah. Loot Hoarder, I mean, why play Blood Mage Thanos when you can just play the same card and keep the spell damage for later? Now, there are 2 Savannah High Mains right now in the Hunter's hand, which are probably exactly what he wants for turn 6 and 7. Because, I mean, even though they die, it's still...
You want Savannah for turn 6,
and then boom.
And then boom. And then High Main. That would be pretty perfect.
You know what, though? I think I almost prefer Dr. Boom when the mage is on 2 health, and I drop it down and he has to Flame Strike, but he can't because he kills himself.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, Dog is kind of in a funny situation. He can't really attack right now because it'll trigger a trap and then give his opponent 1 more charge of mana. So I think he's just going to sit here with the Loot Hoarder for a while.
Yeah. Wait it out until he can actually get the burn that he needs to finish the game. Oh, wow. You've got to be kidding me. Firebat with the perfect top decks once again. Dr. Boom on curve.
I mean, to be fair, this is kind of what Tracking does to you.
Yeah, of course.
Tracking, he kind of weeded out some of his weaker cards, and he was able to draw closer into his deck, draw deeper into his deck for the higher value threats.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's the whole point of Tracking being played. A lot of people don't like the card very much because they say it removes some really, really crucial options. But the point is that you weed out the ones that aren't crucial. Once they're, you've reached your mid game.
Yeah, previously Tracking had been cut from a lot of lists, but it's been coming back more and more these days because Hunter, it's gotten a few nerfs lately. Like other classes have more options to deal with these Hunter cards, like Muster for Battle, Shielded Minibot, all valuable additions to help deal with Hunter. But so these days Hunters, they have to play it somewhat a little slower. So the Tracking helps in that it helps them draw out their High Mains, it helps them draw out their Dr. Booms in key situations like this.
Yeah. Like with a hand like this, Hunter has a pretty good shot at... I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty nice position. I mean, there's guaranteed to be a second Ice Bear coming from that Mad Scientist, but I think he has to stop the High Main from attacking to deal too much damage. I mean, he can't afford just taking 6 and then 3, 5 more and like 12 a turn. That's just not a viable approach.
Oh man, Dog has done so well trying to come back with his Freeze Mage, but Dr. Boom is like so
I mean, the
threatening.
Cone of Cold is going to help quite a bit, but oh wow, and this is unfortunate because the Ice Bear it was just drawn by Dog, and what this means is that the Mad Scientist is going to spawn absolutely nothing. So that's 3 more mana he'll have to expand over the course of the next few turns.
Yeah, probably, or even almost certainly the worst draw in Dog's deck.
Yeah, most definitely. The mad scientist getting 0 value here. But he needs to get rid of these boom bots before he has to wipe them when he is on low health, right?
Yeah. He doesn't want the boom bots to trigger Ice Block. So it's going to be Cone of Cold and... Okay, a Doomsayer. Fair enough.
Pretty good play depending on... Okay, Lothar cannot be deployed right now, so...
Yeah, we already saw Firebat. He had to throw away Hunter's Mark in his tracking, so that won't be an option. So he essentially needed either an owl or a kill command in order to go into the Doomsayer. He has neither, but I guess this is okay. It spawns a lot of Death Rattle minions.
He plays Snake Trap, mostly for the sake of mind games, is my guess.
But I feel like if Dog knows this list, he knows that his opponent... This list actually only runs 1 Freezing Trap and 1 Snake Trap.
Alright, if he knows the list, then that's a very different story. Doomsayer coming out again. So this is actually a really nice card for him to use right now. Forcing Firebat to wipe the board once again, cannot develop Lothar for the time being. And going all face is also not an option with the addition of the other ice barrier. He's got his ice block. And if he plays Lothar now, that ice block will be coming down on time later on. I mean, no Flame Strike will be playable, but that is still perfectly fine.
Well, Firebat can clear this Doomsayer, but he has to give up a bow charge.
No, it is definitely possible, or just unleash even, whatever.
I think it's fair. I think giving up the bow charge is alright because your opponent's never gonna, pretty much never gonna activate this Snake Trap anyway to give you an extra charge of bow.
Yeah. So that Doomsayer at least tanked quite a bit of damage. It acted as a pseudo ice barrier number, 3 again. So that's been a lot of damage tanked by Doomsayers and ice barriers.
All right, once again, Dog needs an AOE.
Well,
Does he get it?
Getting flame strikes and blizzards. He hasn't found any of that. Oh, there it is. So the first blizzard comes up. Do you start with Nova or Nova Blackline Pain, or do you keep that for the next turn?
This is probably... Oh my god.
Rilla from Web Spinner? No. No. Not that it matters much, but...
I mean, this Lothar almost shuts out Dog out of the game.
He has to Frost Nova right now.
Yeah, this seems alright. Blood Mage, Stalnos, Frost Nova.
Yeah, that is setting up a nice AoE if one is found. The problem is that Unleash the Hounds can kill Blood Mage Stalnos in a weird manner. I think this is a list you're right. Yeah, you talked about. 1 Juggler, 1 Unleash. The infamous list. Now Gazrilla coming out. Dog is going to be facepalming again. He's trying to figure out if it's from Web Spinner or from the deck. I saw his face just go, wait, what? What is this?
At least it's not King Crush. King Crush actually would have been pretty devastating.
I mean, do you have to... I mean, what do you have to do? Do you just Acolyte ping and hope for the best? Because you still have a 1 Nova left, right?
Yeah, he has 1 Nova left, but... Oh man, even if he gets the Nova, he's in such deep trouble.
It really depends about what draws the Acolyte give.
Yeah, he has to like top deck pretty much for the next 5 or 6 turns.
Yeah. Wow. The pressure of Hunter is just... This double Savannah Hyamine with Dr. Boom was just absolutely crushing here.
And not only that, but he got the Lothar and the Grazilla.
Yeah, that's like all the cards you want.
All the threats in the deck right now.
Ooh, could this actually be enough? No, it's... Because you can't actually save yourself. You have to kill... Yeah, you're still getting... Well, you know what? He's alive for 1 turn, isn't he? 6? No, the jugglers could... Yeah, never mind. Yeah, juggler with Unleash is going to solve that problem. That's 8. Okay, so the ice block should be popped.
Yeah, and Dog can't even use Alexstrasza next turn. It is just too much damage on board.
Yeah, because if he uses it on himself, he's just gonna die. And if he uses ice block, that's also going nowhere. So that Gazrilla is not even useful. She was just like, so
I mean, at least she drew out an Ice Lance.
okay, I guess that's fine. But I mean, Dog knows there's no coming back, because the best he can do is stall for the next like 25 turns. That's all he can do. There's nothing.
I would say 25 turns is a lot.
Yeah,
of
I would say
turns.
like 1 turn maybe. That's right. But he knows there's nothing there.
Oh, Acolyte into another Acolyte. Not very good.
I mean,
He's
what
not gonna-
could have possibly helped him here?
He's not going to suicide his Acolyte and his Thanos.
It doesn't matter. Even if he draws, what is he going to draw is going to help. The Lotheb,
Yeah,
and
you're,
the Snake Trap might just win. Straight up. To the face.
you're right, because even if he draws like...
And that's the game. Yes, even if
Yeah.
he draws anything he wants, Flame Strike, Blizzard, anything works. Hero Power will just kill him. He can't play anything he draws, regardless of what it is. Alright, so the Hunters beat the Mage. Feels like old Hearthstone. Nothing's changed, but then again, you know, the draws were really good on both sides. I mean, on the Hunter side, that was really, really nice. With the Savannah High main, Dr. Boom, Lotheb to lock down the Mage's ability to stabilize and wipe the board. And even the double Doomsayer on time didn't do anything.
Yeah, interesting thing to note is that today, pretty much Hunter was either banned or it won all of its games.
Exactly. That's pretty much what's happened in every single scenario we've seen it.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Hunter went 2-0 versus Naria,